and welcome to what I have been informed cannot be collective nap time, but I would like it to be collective nap time. Uh, Hi, how are you all doing? The apocalypse is no longer upon Portland more than it's upon the rest of the world. The air cleaned up yesterday, which is a delight. I think what happened in Portland is that we can only process one crisis at a time, and we all recovered from the air quality, and everybody's like out and about again, and they forgot that there was also a pandemic going on because we all were so spent 10 days wrapped up in breathing. So yeah, whew. uh it's 8 p.m. If I took a nap, I would just be going to bed early. It's only 5 here, so it's a completely reasonable napping hour. That is true. 8 p.m. is like, it's not even, that used to be my bedtime. So, NLS is hungover, which is a personal apocalypse. I will say that the most consistent feeling, also, can you tell the traffic is back and everybody is now outside again and every loud vehicle is going down the street? This is all the motorcycles that normally go down our street have come back because they can breathe now. So, yes, it's really delightful to be able to breathe. What I was saying about the smoke was that every day I woke up feeling hungover, which I would be like, I definitely drank like 200 fluid ounces of water the day before, so it's not a lack of dehydration. It's not a lack of hydration, and I don't drink alcohol. It's just like that, I'm just poisoning myself, just like you are when you drink alcohol. And how your body is so busy trying to repair itself when it sleeps, when you like over imbibe, which is why you feel hungover in the morning, because like the sleep doesn't help. Is like a combination of dehydration and the fact that your like body didn't get to use the sleep efficiently. And we were bringing in poison air while we slept, which is probably why I would get 9 hours of sleep and I would feel like I had slept like 4 hours the night before. Anyway, I'm still very tired today, even though I did get perfectly nice air quality while I slept last night. So, yes, everyone is free again. It's great. I'm very excited about it. I was supposed to talk about the wealth gap today, but we'll see if I have the stamina to talk about that. I'm just very tired. We also have a special guest whose feetsies you can see, but there is a cat cam, I believe, and she's very tired. Joe says we can do wealth gap next week. Here's the thing. I can tell you the wealth gap. It's bad. And the rich people are fine, and everybody else is not. That's pretty much it. The most, like, fascinating statistic right now is in the United States and in quite a few European countries, the people that are working professional, middle-class jobs and up have 100% recovered their unemployment numbers back to where they were pre-pandemic, which were at a historic low in the U.S. Whereas the persistent high unemployment that's going on is now entirely concentrated in service sectors, machinists, people who work in industrial sectors. So it is entirely lower income workers, which are disproportionately black and brown women. And they are the folks that are still having very high unemployment numbers. And the people who own more of their wealth in assets that are invested, so in real estate assets, in stocks, those people are actually have increased in wealth while the rest of us are not. So, yeah, it's really not shocking. That's pretty much it. Yep, short live stream. Show over then. I do have a donut today. Let's talk about the donut. It's always very exciting. My donut light is coming. It's on its way. Oh, maybe it's not. There's always more lights. a lot of organization has been going on in the office today, so there's a lot going on outside of the screen. Okay, so today's donut is a Thai tea donut. And so I guess presumably that means it'll have like a very milky tea-esque flavor and coconut flakes on it. Oh, yeah. It just smells kind of like sugar. Coconutty sugar. So, and I made an espresso and I drank it, and it was my 5th cup of caffeine right before the stream, so I opened this green tea. Caffeine seems to be doing nothing for me being awake, so. Oh, Mitch saved a donut for the stream. Nice. Did you get a donut while you were here picking up the cat, Mitch? Mitch has been acting as kitten taxi for Dora, who has been, unfortunately, visiting the vet very frequently, the kitten ophthalmologist. But she doesn't have to go back for 6 weeks now, which I think she's disappointed in because it was, like, more people paying attention to her, which she does enjoy. She doesn't really like people in her house that much, but I think she enjoys getting to meet new people and exploring new spaces. She's not, like, upset about going to the vet. I mean, she really protests getting in the... Despite loving being in boxes and bags, she protests getting in the one that she knows it means going somewhere, and then she's quiet as soon as she knows she's going somewhere. There's a vegan donut place in Philly that does a Thai tea one frequently. Oh, interesting. Vietnamese iced coffee donut. Well, this place actually does do their own vegan Vietnamese iced coffee. And so I'm sure a donut flavor is right around the corner because they are constantly making up new ones. They're doing a 1-month limited run of the next seasonal. Usually the seasonals last 2 or 3 months. So I'm going to have to maybe eat multiple donuts on a stream next month so I can eat all the flavors. I think this is the last one that I haven't eaten. Cat carriers should open on the top like rabbit carriers. This one opens like on either end. It actually makes her look like a space kitten. It's pretty cute. It has like little space bulges on the side, and it's pink because, you know, it's important to have a stylish cat carrier. She was into exploring it, but I think she's gone recently to the vet enough that she knows that she's gonna like get a shot or something when she gets it. Do we all just want to have collective nap time? Because that's about where I'm at with everything. So I was like, I don't really have a plan for this stream. My plan for this stream is this suit, and then that's it. This is a full suit, by the way. These pants popped. They were out of stock after I got the blazer, and then just my size popped up in the store, the brand. So I think someone had returned my size because it was the only size that popped back up, and they were seriously on sale. So I now own this full suit, except that there was also a waistcoat which was also sold out. But I'm very pleased with this suit. So collective map time. We all support that. Mitch, what donut are you eating? I wonder if it's a donut I've had on one of the streams yet. Annie has taken 3 naps today. Nice. That's fabulous. I would like to take 3 naps. That's probably too many naps, even for me. I don't know. I took a 40-minute nap earlier and it did nothing. Like normally I don't nap. I just talk about napping. And then if I do nap, it does something. And I woke up and it was like 40 minutes did not pass at all. I started to question if I had actually set the timer for 40 minutes. Scream into the void stream. I like the idea of doing it because I tend to get more people like watching the stream or jumping in that are not affiliated with like Oh My Dollar and like don't know who I am when I do a trending topic, like recently trending topic. So I like the idea of like doing the trending topic of what's happening on the Supreme Court in the US, and then you get into the stream and it's just me screaming and a cat sleeping on the screen. Oh my gosh, you ate the everything donut. How did you feel about it? It is considered to be the cursed donut because I had an existential crisis while eating it on the live stream. Annie says it was an RGB wakeover hangover. Naps mean I got a full 8 hours. That's good. Yeah. I like how normally I have like graphs and stats and a structure to this live stream, and the real structure to the live stream is that the wealth gap is getting worse and everything's terrible. And yeah. How did people cope? It seems like most of my friends reacted, most of my friends in the States. Are you trying to green screen the cat over my face? I don't know what's going on, but I think Erin's trying to green screen the cat over my face. Erin, this looks like an 80s music video on the preview. What was I going to say? Oh, it seems like a lot of my friends in the States immediately started, like, donating money and, like, upping the amount of calls they were doing and kind of going into action. And it was very different than my reaction, which was to fall into a, like, hole on YouTube where I watched a bunch of Taylor Swift gay conspiracy videos and Dan and Phil like fan crack compilation videos while eating leftover refried beans out of a Tupperware from my fridge. So that's pretty much what I did. I will say that I have felt the need to step up the amount of calls I'm doing. I kind of haven't been doing very much phone banking. I'm fundraising for some local candidates. I have like fundraising events I'm doing for local candidates, which should be really fun, actually. It's going to be a transit trivia event over Zoom. I think it's going to be great. But I have a Ohio. I'm lucky that I have an Ohio area code, and my folks also have an Ohio area code, even though we all live out in Oregon now. And they used to be involved in Ohio politics. Like, my dad was a precinct committee person and my mom was a campaign manager. And they've still been doing a bunch of calls to Ohio voters because it's a swing state. Because the advantage of an Ohio area code is people are more likely to answer with the Ohio area code. So I think it should be fun. Mitch says, so good, but it should be half donut size. I always question my life choices halfway through, but I keep buying it for some reason. Wow, you've bought it multiple times. I definitely will never buy it again. I don't really think it should exist. It's not normally my feelings. I just feel like you should either have a really good bagel or a good donut, and you shouldn't try to have a bad donut and a good bagel like mashed together. Emily says, I got super sad high and then was woken up by an earthquake. Oh yeah, there was an earthquake down in LA. How did it... I heard that it was like enough that you would definitely feel it, but not enough. Did anything like fall off the shelves, or was it just more like a very big truck went past everybody? Mitch says, catch 22, you can't have a good bagel in Portland. I actually used to deliver. One of my weekend jobs was that I bike delivered these Montreal style bagels for the name of the company is Blackheart Bagels, and they don't have like a physical location, but they sold it like Whole Foods and a couple restaurants and stuff. And I think Portland's better at Montreal style bagels than they are at any other kind of bagel. I like New York City style, you're just not going to find good ones out here. But Blackheart bagels are great. And I used to also get paid in bagels and then like a 20 that smelled like garlic. So that was a fun side job. Anyway, that job worked very well for the purposes of always having a steady supply of bagels in my house. Transit trivia. Oh, do you want to learn more about the transit trivia? Yeah, so I have a friend running for Metro Council, which I mentioned last week when I was talking about the urban growth boundary, that here in Portland we have something very special, which is Metro, which is the only elected regional government. And they are particularly focused on planning, although they do have some other things that they do. They're not a county. They are a regional government devoted to planning. However, they also run the convention center and the zoo. You know, you gotta have some things that they're in charge of. But most of what they do is, oh, and they do recycling too. Some recycling. It's a little complicated. But they specifically, the elected councilors, Metro regional councilors, are elected based on the regions, which isn't every single jurisdiction. It's like they have 5, 6 councilors. Wow, I should really definitely know this. Anyway, my friend Chris is running. In the primary, he was running against my friend Cameron. He has gone on to the runoff with Mary Noland. Cameron has been doing incredible work on his own thing, which is called Black Resilience, which is a fund that has raised now over $1 million and done a bunch of advocating to get specific mutual aid to Black Portlanders to meet their daily needs and invest in Black businesses. Cameron's been doing great work. He did not make it through the runoff. So the runoff is Mary Nolan, and who's kind of like an entrenched Democrat. She's a perfectly fine person. And then my friend Chris Smith. Chris Smith, I think, is like the best person for the role by far. I've known Chris for years, and he is a planning nerd's planner's nerd in that he got the streetcar to Portland. He's been sitting on the planning commission, which is a completely volunteer position. Now, I think it was 10 years ago that he got appointed to that. He runs the blog, portlandtransport.com. He's just the kind of person that like knows everything about zoning. He's also very pro-density, very pro-public transit, and I think a real asset. So he's running, and almost everybody I know who knows him, or anybody I know that like lives in the region, is interested enough in transit as their kind of core thing. So we're going to be doing a fundraiser for him that is transit trivia, because it seems like a fun activity. I know people are getting very burnt out on just the Cameron and Chris house party. Was supposed to be like, we did a house party for them both where we just kind of split the kitty. However, it was supposed to be an actual house party and organized with 2 of my friends. And then it was like in March, late March. So it ended up being a Zoom house party. But at the time, that was still like a novelty. We actually got Zoom bombed by some very notable white supremacists who flashed their swastika symbols on the stream. But it was fine. We moved on. We fixed that. That was early in the Zoom bombing. But what was I going to say about it? Anyway, now just attending a regular house party on Zoom is like way too much burnout. People are not excited about that. So I felt like trivia was a good thing. So that's what I'm doing, but I need to be doing something on the congressional races. The thing is, I always try to really focus on local stuff. And in Oregon, we don't have any competitive seats. We don't really have, we have Blumenauer, who I used to work at his district office, Representative Blumenauer. He's probably our most powerful House rep. He's on the Ways and Means Committee, and he's been elected office since he was like 19 years old, and he's now in his 50s. So the other person would be Senator Ron Wyden, and he's deep in Democratic Party, but Oregon just has so little influence on this. So I don't know. I think I need to use my Ohio area code privilege to help influence a little better, but I always try to focus on local politics because I know how to actually affect change locally. David says, I had to Google Montreal bagels, wood-fired bagels. Yes, please. Yeah, they're really small. That's the thing about Montreal bagels. They're very small and they're dense, similar to how New York City bagels are, but they're like a lot smaller than that. They're very good. Split kitties. No. That would be a whip around in UK language, Dean. No, actually splitting kitties in half. Emily said that nothing fell. Yeah, every time I hear about earthquakes, I think about how unearthquake-proofed our house is. Like, my parents are very good about it. They're on their neighborhood emergency management team and stuff, and they're always, like, anchoring stuff to the walls. And other than, like, furniture being anchored, we have tons of tiny things on top of shelves. Garlic 20s. I worked that job for years, and so all of my cash just came from this job, and it all smelled like garlic. It was great. Well, how are people doing? Neighborhood emergency response team. I know, my parents are very cool and civically engaged in ways I no longer am. I got so burnt out by the 2016 election that I've really limited my political involvement. It was a rough year to be working in politics. But really says nothing for this year working in politics. I can't even imagine right now. Aaron is suspiciously walking around, so I feel like something's about to happen. Oh, just looking for your phone. Well, what are people doing? In, like, U.S. folks or folks, I don't think Vika is up, but Vika was telling me that she was monitoring elections in Russia last week and being, like, a election reporter in Russia, which is awesome, and doing free and fair elections is really hard in Russia, so I thought that was very cool. But yeah, what are folks doing if you're kind of processing your feelings? Are you more on my side of the spectrum, where you're Googling Taylor Swift gay conspiracy theory videos, or are you like my friends that suddenly started donating to candidates and writing all their senators and everything? Emily says, beginning to have grim conversations with my Jewish relatives about getting out of Dodge, and I made donuts this morning. I mean, making donuts this morning sounds like an excellent response. Yeah, I do feel like leaving the country is feeling... There was an interesting but not very deep discussion on the forums going on this morning, because one of my immediate reactions was, okay, well, I really need to get this passport that I'm working on right now, this EU passport. And one of the things being said was sort of like, well, do you stay and fight, or do you flee for safety? And then the other question is, we're seeing, like, the rise of, you know, autocratic governments all over the world. So what, you know, kind of what's the guarantee that fleeing for safety would bring you safety, I guess, is sort of the question. So it's been something that's been weighing on me. For me, the Croatian passport, like, there is a bunch of reasons why Croatia as a country I do not think is necessarily more safe, but for me it's kind of like a backup insurance plan, particularly because they are in the EU as well. So that gives me, I don't know, access and choices. I speak German, which is spoken in more other EU countries than Croatian is. So, anyway, that's my kind of theories right here. Claire applied to be a poll worker. That's awesome, but still waiting for a follow-up. And aside from that, donating more to direct aid or hyperlocal causes. I do feel like I really ramped up my giving, when Black Lives Matter started to be a really big conversation again, in the wake of George Floyd's killing, and I still feel so good about local giving. I've always found charity to be such a large component of my values with my budget, but I didn't always have the financial stability to back it up, and because I am one of those people that is right now in a professional white collar job and does have more means. I'm actually probably going to have my highest earning year ever this year, which is a weird thing to say. But, you know, I've had many years where I've earned less than $10,000. So it's, I always assume that there's going to be a feast and famine cycle, but it feels good to, in addition to saving for the feast and famine cycle that my finances tend to go in, I'm also able to donate more. And the fact of working locally in charities for so long means that I have a lot of really civically engaged friends that are on the ground doing amazing work, and it's very easy to figure out how to support them. David is just trying to be patient and focus on the day-to-day. That is a excellent self-care plan, and at the core, that's what you need to do. I think, you know, self-care has been co-opted by the, like, beauty industry, and it's been co-opted as advertising. But self-care was always meant for activists so that they could refill their internal surpluses and make sure to process the ways that they experience trauma and the ways that they are able to contribute to their community and refill their tanks and make sure they're taking care of themselves. And that's what self-care has been about. It's been for people in caring professions that are exposed to trauma and folks that are in activist roles. Remember, this is a marathon. This is, you know, it's not a sprint, and you have to go through cycles, right? Which is one of the things I've had to tell myself since I was so heavily involved in like local politics and, you know, working for my congressperson and then working for the party, which I have very mixed feelings about, as I did even when I was working for them. But I've just had to kind of realize, like, that's not what the past couple of years have been about for me, and that's okay. Mitch has been chauffeuring cute cats around and watching trash Twitch videos on demand on YouTube. I mean, that seems like a good way to process. Also, Dora thanks you. She is repaying your kindness by napping. I feel like we need to move the camera to be... It's, like, extremely cute. Oh, I don't want to move the tripod right now. But she's so cute. Oh. Christine says, the marathon seems to be getting longer. Yes. Agreed. I think the marathon is forever, right? The arch of the universe bends towards justice is what we've been told, but there will always be a reason to cycle in and cycle out, but you know, I don't think there ever stops being, there's no utopia. There never stops being a reason to advocate. And if you want to use your voice, you have to rest it occasionally. Dean just wants to snuggle the cat tummy. I mean, cat tummy, real cute. Like, extra, extra cute. A friend of mine worked the Milwaukee COVID elections and liked the experience. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that they felt safe. That's been one of the things that's been really concerning about working around the elections, is making sure it's safe. Not the right place to put that. Aaron is doing a lot of things on the screen, and right now... Mm-hmm. This is great. Welcome to the live stream. We're doing quality work here. Midge says it seems like a good time to rewatch Cloud Atlas. Ooh, let me update you on what we have started watching, because it is wild. So, James Cameron's premiere television show, James Cameron of Avatar and Alien and Titanic fame, had a show that was extremely high budget in the year 2000 that I watched at the time, and I have not picked it up since, and that, so alarmingly, that was 20 years ago now. It is set in post-apocalyptic Seattle when America has become a fallen superpower after terrorists wiped out all of the digital money with an electromagnetic pulse from 90 miles up. And it's supposed to be sci-fi. She's genetically modified by the government. And, like, Jessica Alba's the main character. She's a genetically modified kind of superhero, but she's meant to be, like, a soldier. And she's a bike messenger in post-apocalyptic Seattle. And under this authoritarian government in this, like, massive nationwide recession, and I mean, it's a depression at that point, and it is alarming how little a lot of it feels like sci-fi. Although it has that classic hallmark of a year 2000 movie or 2000 TV show, which is that a lot of the problems could be solved by cell phones. However, there's an easy way to explain everything away, which is that essentially the electromagnetic pulse has wiped everything out. So they're always using payphones and pagers, which is very funny. So it is very fascinating. It was canceled after 2 seasons, but I believe the last season was turned into a comic book. Kind of like Buffy, except that Buffy got 7 seasons, so a little different. Anyway, we've been watching that, and it's dark, but it's still kind of funny. I would say the acting is not amazing, but it's so high budget. The pilot had a $10 million budget. It's called Dark Angel, which is hard to Google, but just look for the one that is a TV show in the year 2000. When you see the poster, you're going to be like, oh yes, that is a post-apocalyptic third-wave feminist television show from 2000, because she's wearing, like, lace-up motorcycle pants, and has eyebrows that look like they were drawn on by the thinnest pencil ever. Fun fact, Jessica Alba, who was a child actress and very, like, over-sexualized, I would say, when she became an adult, maybe even a little before that. She now runs The Honest Company, which is a, like, tech company valued at, like, $1 billion. They sell products for your house, like kids and homeware products. And she said that she was treated better as, like, a Maxim model and a sex object in Hollywood than she was as a female co-founder in tech at tech conferences. So that's a nice depressing fact for you. Camille says, I buy diapers from Jessica Alba 20 years later. See? Yeah. David says, I watched at least some of that when it was a new series. I mean, that, like, series was very confirming for confused 13-year-old me. Because when it first came out, I was 13, and I was not confident in my sexuality, and watching that, I got a lot more confident in my sexuality, because it's just Jessica Alba riding around in a motorcycle jacket on a bicycle through Seattle. If you describe something to being more up my alley, I don't know what it would be. So, she also, like, stands on the Space Needle all the time, which is, like, now decrepit and covered in graffiti, which is believable. Yeah, so that's a post-apocalyptic thing we're watching. We're really rotating through our ability to absorb stuff that is, like, dark or post-apocalyptic. Like, I had to take a break from Succession because it's just about, like, rich evil people. Like, no one is a good person in that show, and it's about, like, uber wealthy people. But now it's kind of fun because a lot of things go wrong for them, and so it's, like, okay to watch. Should we eat a donut now? All right. Donut Light is coming back. This is the Thai tea donut. I will try it and describe it. It's very pretty. I don't know why she moved to the ground. It's Thai tea. This is a very weird live stream. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't really have a plan. It's good. The coconut flakes on the top are really chewy. I'm trying to taste the tea in it. It just tastes coconutty. It looks orange, so I keep expecting another flavor. Does Thai tea have turmeric in it? It really just tastes like a coconut donut to me. I'm eating it really fast. Oh, Mitch, you want another donut? You were supposed to wait for the donut until I eat the donut. All right, final bite. It's just fluffy on the inside. Yeah. I think we need a light. It's just a fluffy regular donut on the inside. Delicious, I support. I think it's possible that Mitch ate the donut. I'm sorry normally I have more of a plan for live stream. I don't have a plan today. I just want to take a nap. Now that I've had green tea and sugar, I'm like at least 10% more awake than I was at the beginning of the stream. I also have no clocks in here, so I have no concept of what time it is. Like I said, no clocks, but I have a watch on. It is 5:38. All right, how about you all tell me what you're most looking forward to this weekend? Either civic engagement or otherwise. I don't actually think... Do I have anything I'm looking forward to this weekend? This week? I got a vacuum for the first time in 10 days, which I know really sounds like something I shouldn't be excited about, but we were not supposed to vacuum when the air quality was really bad. So I was very excited that, one, we got to open the windows, obviously. I did all of my laundry at once, which I don't normally do because I'm trying to get the smoke smell out of all of my clothes, and vacuumed. I will say that, like, you know, I Googled, like, how do you get smoke smell out of things that can't be washed? And overwhelmingly it was like, just expose them to fresh air. And that felt really disappointing when our air was poisoned in our house. But now that it's great outside, great air quality outside again, I really hope that that continues for everyone, not just for us. Because, man, it is really terrible to be trapped in your house with toxic air outside. Like, I'm so grateful that I have, like, safe housing, and, you know, was able to keep working. But, there's like several people in my building that are mail carriers, and they still had to go to work and walk outside in that air all day, and I just felt so bad. But what Pixie Dust is excited for is breathing air. Yep. Ooh, Claire's gonna go to your local vegan coffee shop tomorrow to get my first pumpkin spice latte of the season. Very excited about that. Ooh, that does kind of sound like a good idea. I wonder if I should get some stuff to make pumpkin spice lattes at home. Last year, I was working at a Starbucks. during pumpkin spice season. I also worked in a really small Starbucks, so we had it actually through the end of January. We had pumpkin spice because essentially, usually stores will run out at like, you know, in like by late October, early November, but at the low volume Starbucks or your corporate coffee chain of choice, if you're excited about getting the corporate pumpkin spice latte, if you go to the low volume stores, they'll have the stuff for longer. David is excited about NFL football. You're really bringing it back around to... It's out of the norm for this group, I would say. That sounds very exciting. And making apple chips. Well, back onto the food tasks. Christine is attending a vigil for RBG. Oh, that sounds very sweet. NLS is starting a new job on Monday after being at your last company for 10 years. Not sure if you're excited or scared. I think that it's pretty normal to have a mix of both. It's also pretty much back to normal where you're at, right? Like you are not... You're post-pandemic, kind of, for now. I'm very curious how much things have shifted around. Are you going to be on site, or are you, like, just starting a job virtually? Because starting a job virtually is rough. We've onboarded, like, 3 or 4 new people since the beginning of the pandemic, and it really sucks to not be able to get them in the office. Pixie Dust is writing more letters to voters while breathing clean air. I think that sounds great. Emily is diluting vodka spray. Diluting vodka spray is supposed to be good for cigarette smoke. Yeah, initially I thought that my closet would, like, air out less. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna need to buy a steamer. And I looked into it, and you can have, like, very low amounts of vodka relative to water. And you can, like, use it on your clothes. I would say, why did my clothes ever smell like smoke when I came home from bars in Berlin if vodka gets out the smoke smell? Joe says, kiddo and I are surviving our first day alone in ages. Ooh, Lego TV and snacks. Yeah, I don't know what... Dora had an appointment in the other room. Oh, Erin also said that she had an appointment. I just read that chat. We spend too much time together talking about the cat, clearly. Claire says, my local shop is not a corporate place. I love them. Yeah, I don't know if it's changed this season, but the Starbucks pumpkin spice latte is not vegan. So if you need a vegan or non-dairy option. Most of their other seasonal stuff is, but the pumpkin spice one is not. Emily says, my new hippie cleaning scrubbers got in, and I'm going to scrub things. Scrubbing, the best! Yeah, I know. Scrubbing is really fun. I do find that I got a lot of energy from just vacuuming all of the clothes. Or vacuuming all of the floors. However, now I have 3 loads of laundry. One of them is very small, because it was like reds and pinks. But I have 3 loads of laundry that are going to need to be folded when they're done drying. And I'm really not looking forward to. Well, next time I'm in Maryland, I will make sure to ask where I need to get one. Joanna says, I feel like Western Australia is a bubble within the pandemic. It could go sideways at any time, but everyone is working in the offices, etc. is normal. That's very fascinating. That is very fascinating. I think everybody here is acting as though things are normal, but things aren't reopened. Like, gyms are still not reopened and stuff, but outside, having not really been inside of places, outside it seems like people are just pretending the pandemic didn't exist. There were like 100 people playing on the turf field when I was running on the track today, and no one was wearing a mask, and they were all playing very close to each other. It was like kids in a soccer camp, and then adults playing soccer, and then their parents standing there. And the only masks I saw were other people running wearing them around their chin. I literally saw no one else wearing a mask. So I know that outside the masks are less necessary if you have social distancing. However, everybody was up in each other's space exercising right next to each other, so that's not really the same. I was safe and fine, by the way. Like, on the track, I can avoid people in social distance, and I wear a mask when I'm running, so... The reason I wear a mask when I'm running, although I do not wear a very thick mask, but I wear a mask when I'm running because when the rinks open back up, I need to be conditioned enough that I can run with I can, do cardio with a mask on, because there's no way the rinks won't require masks on the ice. When they initially opened, they were only requiring off the ice, as long as you could social distance on the ice. But I think it's based on what I've seen in other places where the rinks have opened, they're requiring masks on ice. And I feel like, hey, it just means I'm in better cardio conditioning. David's cat is licking cheese. Hope you're not going to eat that cheese. Everybody's licking cheese, apparently, including Pixie Dust. Our mail-in ballots get here November 3rd-ish. No, they're due November 3rd, Mitch. They will be coming soon. Usually they come about a month ahead of time. I do think that Oregon is going to get them, gonna send them out a little bit earlier this year. So one of the things that was really stressful for a bunch of my friends was that voter pamphlet statements were due like the day all the fires were happening and the really bad air quality. And I had friends that were like in the midst of everything being shut down and it being like half block of visibility outside and impossible to breathe, had to like submit a bunch of voter statements, which is very stressful. I don't know why everybody was waiting till the last minute to submit voter statements, probably waiting on endorsements and stuff to do them, but we didn't expect everything to catch on fire and make the air unbreathable. You could have 30K spectators at football games. No one wears masks. Gyms are open. Clubs, restaurants, and stuff are open. That's really interesting. Wow. Yeah, that's very fascinating. Whew. Yeah, the election day is the same for everyone, but when the ballots go out is different. So, if folks don't know this, Oregon has entirely mail-in voting, and we've had entirely mail-in voting since 2008, I believe. We do have drop boxes as well, like the counties convert into that. And what was very cool was during the primary, I was able to actually drop my ballot in the library drop box because the library was closed. But it's run by the county, and the county also runs our elections. And they converted the like library drop boxes into ballot drop boxes, which was very cool. So, Joe said you had something like 10% of your population displaced. How will that affect mail-in voting? So the 12% estimate was people under evacuation orders. However, almost no one is still under evacuation orders. That being said, we did have a lot of people whose houses were destroyed. So the folks aren't displaced permanently. Most folks of those aren't displaced permanently. Most folks have gone back to their houses now. As they've gotten the fires contained and we stopped having the inversion trapping the smoke, firefighters are making progress on the fires. We are used to fires here, just like in general. And normally we can handle them, but the particular fire conditions we were getting is what was making everything so terrible and making it so the fires were 0% contained. Like it was like high heat, long drought, combined with this particular wind that we were getting, and then we got an inversion, so it was trapping all the smoke, so they couldn't fight from air, as far as I understand. So, that was... Anyway, they are now working on the fires, proceeding as usual. People that still have homes are going back. We obviously have a lot of a lot of work to do on rebuilding and repairing economies, and the deadline for changing your address, I believe, is October 23rd. Don't quote me on that. It's sometime in October is the deadline for changing your address. So they are asking people to change their address online. You can do it online in the state of Oregon. You can do that anyway. We also have here automatic voter registration through the DMV, which in normal times is great because people are more likely to remember to update their address with the DMV if they drive than they are to remember, especially in a non-presidential election year, to update their address with, let alone register to vote, but to update their address with the elections. But we have automatic voter registration through the DMV here, thanks to Motor Voter, which was heavily worked on by my friend Aaron Brown. So good job. And also pushed through by our current governor back when she was Secretary of State. And that, I think, will have some influence, but I will say I know that the DMV has a really long backlog. So there is definitely some worries about that. You can always go drop a ballot in a ballot box, and you can pick one up from your county elections office. I haven't heard of any county election office that are burnt down, but a lot of parts of the state where there were fires, they are in very rural counties where the county elections office might be a 3 or 4 hour drive from your house. So that is one of the concerns that we have. But within the cities, it should be less of a problem, but maybe less people have changed their address. So you can check online. I think it's OregonVotes.org. I believe you can check your voter registration online there. I go to Multnomah County Elections because I live in Multnomah County. Anyway, that's Oregon notes. So if anybody here's from Oregon and wants to know about voter registration, apparently there's a rainbow. That's very weird for Oregon, getting rainbows in Portland, because normally it's just overcast. I have never been so grateful for rain, I think, in my entire life. Just the air cleaning up. I know at some point the gratitude for having clean air to breathe is going to fade and being able to like open my windows. But right now I'm filled with so much gratitude for having clean air to breathe again, and recognizing that there are some people in the world that live with this level of pollution in their houses from cooking devices that are not safe, or from pollution, industrial pollution, that don't have people to advocate for them, and it does not go away as quickly with rain. And right now I'm just feeling very grateful that we live somewhere where we can breathe again. And I hope my lungs work on repairing themselves, because I definitely did get screwed up from that. She's a very tired kitten. Dean says, I used to wear a mask outside all the time in Kathmandu. Yeah, I mean, I wear a mask pretty often when I'm traveling in polluted cities, and I have an N95 for fire season for biking in Portland, like even before the coronavirus pandemic. But the level that we were experiencing here was historic. It was actually the worst air quality the state has ever seen on record, ever. And especially the amount of sustained days and the amount of the 100% of the Oregon population was affected by it. And we are not a small state geographically. So, yeah, the level of air pollution as opposed to having some air pollution was really unprecedented. And that level isn't normally seen in cities at all in the world. Like, it's even cities that do have bad outdoor air quality don't have 450 or 500 air quality on a regular basis. Pixie says, I walked up Tabor and I was very out of breath because I haven't walked in 2 weeks. Yeah, that was the thing I was experiencing today. I went on what was supposed to be a 4-mile run, and it was my first time exercising in 10 days because my air quality in my house wasn't safe to exercise, and I wasn't allowed outside. And I was, like, really very scared, because I struggled with 3 miles of running. So I don't think I would get that quickly out of condition. Like 3 miles is what I do on like an easy morning usually. And cardio conditioning hasn't ever been my thing. Like when I fail, it's usually like my legs get tired or my ankle's upset or something like that. It's rarely the cardio that does me in, and I had to stop to walk several times. It was like one of the worst paces I've had. So I think I am still suffering some lingering effects. I don't feel them, but I did feel that maybe my lungs need a little grace right now. Oh, Daniel works outside in Clackamas. That was very close to the fires. Cannot express my relief. Did you have to keep working through all of this outside? And did you have a respirator? Were you okay? Or was work shut down when it was going on? Clackamas is super close to the fires. Yeah. Oh, the clouds were very beautiful today. See, look how positive we all are. Oh, Daniel, I'm so sorry. That sounds so stressful. Yeah, that just sounds very stressful. I'm very sorry. Oh, whew. Well, I'm glad that you're able to breathe outside again. I have so many friends for which working outside is such a big goal for them, and that's like what they build their careers around, being able to work outside. And it's so terrifying how quickly that became like way more stressful. I haven't had to work outside in a couple years, but I used to have a job where I worked outside, and it was like rain was normal, but in Oregon, and you just accept it and move on. But this air quality, whew, yeah. I was struggling to work on my computer job in the bad air quality in my house, so I don't know how you were concentrating or doing anything. Well, thank you all for joining for this extremely unstructured live show where we did nothing, really. We talked about how rich people are rich without me giving many statistics, and talked about the air quality, and ate a donut. That's it. That's all that happened. But thank you for giving me some time this week and hanging out with me. And the kitten is very tired, but I think she'll close out the stream today when we move the camera. It's just ears. It's very cute. She's really cute on this side. And little feetsies are stacked on each other and crossed. Ah, well, I'm happy you all survived another week. I wish you great air quality this week. Please take care of yourself and, breathe some fresh air and appreciate it for what it is if you have access to it. Pet a cat if you have access to it. Stay hydrated. And if you're in the U.S., please contact your senator and tell them that we should wait till after the election to appoint a Supreme Court justice. And it's not going to happen, but please contact them. Just let them know. The calls matter more than emails. I know emails are easy. You probably won't have to talk to a human. And if you do talk to a human, you're going to be talking to an intern who's doing nothing but taking calls. But when I worked in an office, we counted calls for more. We marked them down. You probably won't get to talk to your actual senator unless you live in a really rural state. So, yeah. Joanna says, look up people's experiences after the Australian January 2020 fires. I'm pretty sure it took a while for people to get better, but they did. Okay, I am glad to hear that. I did look up some, articles on how our lungs repair themselves. And essentially they have, once again, this is an economics live stream, not a biology live stream. Do not know really what I'm talking about. Read 2 articles. But obviously I'm an expert on the internet now because, if I was a white man, I would be. Genetic material in your lungs can repopulate the other genetic material in your lungs and, repair them. So I am very excited about whatever is going on in my lungs right now. I think they're working very hard. I wish I had a full immune system to contribute them. I actually didn't. I take an immunosuppressant once a week, and I didn't take it last week because I usually take it Sunday night, and that's when the air quality in our house was the worst. And I was feeling the worst. I was like super nauseous. And I know it is harder for your body to fight itself when it's immunocompromised. So I just didn't take it this week. I can skip a week if I need to. If you're like have a cold, you're supposed to skip a week so your body can work on stuff. And I was like, I feel like my immune system needs to work on breathing this week. Anyway, that's probably part of the reason I'm feeling so tired is because I have a disease that causes fatigue, and I didn't take my medication for it this week. So, all right, I really mean it. I'm really leaving now. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. Stay hydrated. Thank you for the time, and have a lovely Saturday night or Sunday morning. Bye.